things are so interesting in my head. It's kind of nice to have something exciting going on. I stayed home. I don't need to go to town for nothing.
There's the question: what is Oh, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the April 21st St. Mary's City Commission regular meeting. The first item on the agenda is appropriation ordinance 1296. Do you have any comments on that for us, Morty?
It is the Balloonic final bill. They got the change order corrected. Has the Kansas Power Pool bill. Some lights there from Border States for Dawn.
That Historic Society, is that a once a year?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think they get a match from the county. I think there's some sort of match involved with that for the county.
All the gravel and gravel hauling, is that related to anything in particular, or is it just having around?
Probably replenishing supplies.
Okay.
So if there are no further questions, when anyone is ready, I'd entertain a motion to approve the appropriation ordinance as presented. Any one of those days.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve appropriation ordinance number 1296.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor vote aye. There are none opposed. Thank you. And the minutes of our last meeting of April 7th. Rich, good. Ms. Raphael. I'm sure you enjoyed reading.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay, good. Any agenda items to add? Looks like I have one thing here. Is this the Garden Club fundraiser?
Yeah.
Did you bring that small child to convince us that we should put you first on the agenda?
Absolutely.
I also want to add the air conditioning unit, HVAC.
So we'll put the HVAC as the last item. And I think we will hear from the Garden Club first. Call that agenda item 1. Anything else? Okay. So let's proceed then, please. The Garden Club fundraiser. So the general announcement I like to give is, please, if you want to speak, you're welcome to, but come up to the podium. Tell us who you are, if you're a resident of the city. And please keep your comments clear, concise, and courteous. So I invite you to come to the podium if you would like to speak.
Hello, my name is Mario Butts, Gabby Espinoza. We are residents of St. Mary's. We are trying to do a fundraiser for the Garden Club, which is run by Greg Hochterberg.
Yeah, we are familiar with him.
Okay, cool. I say his last name wrong every single time. But we're just trying to raise money for it. It's supposed to be like a club helping beautify the town, plant flowers, whatnot. Obviously, you need money to do so. The paper, I think, printed out, we're going to change it to June 13th because apparently Gabby's sister is getting married on June 6th, so that was my bad. Poor communication on my part. But essentially, it was be super simple. Just rent out the gazebo, put up a projector screen. I already have a projector. We'll put up a poll for on the poster for what movie will be played, but it'll be through VidAngel, so it'll be appropriate no matter what's played. And then we'll just do like donation based, like popcorn, soda kind of thing. Super simple. And then from 4 to sundown, we'll just be like games in the park to try to get people to show up. So I know the young adult community likes to play sand volleyball, kickball, all kinds of things like that. So that's essentially it.
And is there any questions? Comments? Did you say Good Angel?
A VidAngel is just like a streaming thing you can use for any movie to make sure like if there's cuss words or like anything inappropriate will be like edited out kind of thing. A lot of parents use it, so I figured it's probably wise to use it as well if it's a public movie.
Well, that is a concern. That would be a prime concern for me, in fact. Any other comments? We're looking just to make sure that they can have it, and we're waiving if there's a small rental fee.
Yeah, it's $50.
Is that what you're asking for?
Yeah, just the gazebo because that's probably what we would use to like put up the projector and everything.
But are you asking for us to waive the fee?
Oh no, we can pay it. Yeah.
Well, it's not wrong to waive the fee. I just
Just want to make sure it's clear what we're
correct.
applying for permission for.
If it's a fundraiser, whatever you can waive it. It's not a problem. I just want to identify the area and then we'll put it in the minutes and let the police know that they have it reserved.
Okay. And so that would be gazebo, but clearly a space around the gazebo.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It won't probably be an issue, but sometimes people show up at the gazebo and if it's it's first come first served. But if it's actually reserved, which is a good idea, we can help them be able to use it.
Looks like you might want to say something.
Every once in a while. Thanks, Rick. So yeah, I have no problem waiving the fee if that comes up, but just looking back over time, the more cautious you can be on the movie, the better.
Yeah.
Where we've seen different events happen over the last 15 years. And always ends better
Yeah.
when you're a little bit more cautious than less cautious, which it sounds like you guys are fully aware. So I appreciate that. But yeah, thanks for doing it. Yeah, very fun guy to work with, so good luck.
I was gonna say, if y'all need to approve the movie, we'd be more than happy to like come back, but I don't know. Yeah.
I think the main thing is just be aware of that. It's hard to recover
Yeah.
when people get upset.
Yeah.
It's better just never to give them the opportunity.
Yeah.
And we've seen that. I've seen that in the past, just with different events. And,
Yeah. That was our main concern as well. So.
I'll appreciate that. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Make sure your name is on it. So, do we have a, go ahead, Professor.
So your agenda has 2 questions. Are you still looking for answers to those, or?
Yes. Yeah.
Alright. Right, let's see. Oh, could we use it, right? So now we're expanding the space. Yeah, thank you, Raphael, for looking at that. Could we use the baseball fields for games? Can we sell homemade food? I think that's yeah, we need to check the schedule.
They'd have to check with director and whatever else.
So I don't think we can tell you right now. In principle, yes, but we don't know. And food should be a problem. It's your event.
Yeah. We didn't know if it had to be like a licensing, but if it's like donation based, it's fine. Okay. What it is.
Well, then.
Like,
That's coming up later on.
I was doing alcohol, you know, license. Yeah. But is that even allowed to sell? Or
When they have the, like for the 4th of July, sometimes they'll have the different wagons, so we weren't sure if we were even allowed to do that or just keep it.
You're allowed to be licensed through the state. In fact, we're talking about it in another agenda item.
Oh, okay.
So, but if you want to sell liquor in the park, they'll have to approve it, but you have to go to the state and get the license from them.
Okay.
So it's definitely doable. It's
Okay.
just got some work to do.
Okay.
But
So the answers, I think, we have a consensus on yes, you could rent the gazebo and we'll waive the consensus on it. And if the fields are available, we want to find which one probably.
Yeah. I mean, that's even if people show up to play kickball, so it's one of just an option.
And then if you want to do anything with selling alcohol, I'm not sure that's going to be cost effective, but you have to be forward on that.
Okay.
Good. Thank you. Okay, hold on, there are many questions.
This, I don't think this needs to be an issue, but it's close to the solstice. I don't know what time sundown actually is. Actually,
Yeah, that was an estimated time. Hopefully we'll put like a maybe it's like an hour and a half max.
I missed the question.
Turns out when sundown is, he wants to make sure you can see the screen. He wants to
Well,
make sure.
there's a variety of websites out there that will tell you when the sunset is.
I think the park actually closes after that.
Yeah, that's the other question.
Or close it at 11. Or
I don't know that.
It posted. What time do you plan on being out?
we estimated 10:30, but I guess that does depend on the sun.
Okay.
You just send it to the left. That's pretty
Chief, what's the closing time of the park?
11 o'clock.
Yes.
So 11 o'clock.
I would
And,
not imagine it would
and I would say if it takes you extra to clean up, we're fine with that.
Thank you.
All right, next item is the sewer bond. Kevin's not here, but I think it's just a question of timing.
Yeah, so he said nothing needs to be done tonight, but then in another email, he kind of hinted like there could be something tonight. And it's when you want to sell bonds, the bond sale, and I would suggest that you have it at the second meeting in May. And that way, he can't act as our financial advisor, it's a conflict of interest, although he would give us some hints. And they have a book of all the banks in Kansas that, and we'd send a letter that when you approve the 5-year one and get bids for that and probably make the sale. It needs to be done because we're having a meeting Thursday about starting the project. And then once they give the contractors the notice to go ahead, they usually start requesting payment after 30 days. So I would have, there's a consensus to have this bond sale at the second meeting of May. We put that in the minutes and we can get this seems that this drinking along. So if that makes sense. No objection?
Okay.
Alright, thank you.
Next item is the Keith Edition short plat.
So that's not what's on the table here. That's a different one. You'll have to set that was one from there. The Keith Edition is the one from Lakeview where the original design had and is called a cul-de-sac. Cul-de-sacs are basically just a place where you can turn around, not necessarily the same shape. The house was built on part of the cul-de-sac. It needs to be replatted. They replatted it for 4 lots 3. I gave you the explanation for that several times, I believe. The planning commission approved it. Your role was a sample motion in here. If someone has that to accept the easements and dedications on the plat, I would suggest you use that one. And I would caveat I would add is we may have to come back and vacate the street. Normally the plat takes care of it, but I haven't talked to the city attorney yet. I just was looking into it. The reason we have to do a street vacation yet is because there's a public hearing tied to it, or short plats don't require public hearings. And I'm not sure you can vacate a street without a public hearing, but you can certainly approve the plat as presented and set the easements and stuff. And I'll verify that with the city attorney. So.
Any questions there? And I would entertain a motion to accept public dedication easements of right of way shown on the final plat, Keith Edition.
Yeah. It's written there. I move to accept.
I move to accept public dedication easements right away shown on the final plat of Keith Edition.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Motion and a second. All those in favor vote aye. Aye. And there are none opposed. So that's good. We sign that after. The next item on the agenda is sidewalk reimbursement request for 615 Holmes.
So that's my nephew. Kind of I guess, so yeah, kind of, so I'm gonna, watch you guys run, so.
So we have an extended historic a little bit. Grant is not going to be involved in a sidewalk discussion. Any comments?
Bob went out and met with the property owner and looked at it. He did his own measurements. It says it's 82 feet by 4 feet, 328 square feet, and $3 per square foot. Our policy says low to or medium to high traffic areas. I don't know how you judge that. So Bob's recommending it be approved. And it may already be in fact. Someone said they saw it being board, but anyhow, it's I believe it's acceptable as presented.
Just a question about the rate.
The $3 was the one that's recently increased from 2. In there, I put the packet that showed the date that it was approved because I ended up putting it in that first newsletter.
How recently was that? Very recent. In the last couple months.
I put it in there. So some of it's way back.
Yeah,
And then
it was, I think, as I recall, it's back in 1992 or something.
Kelsey signed it was the 19th of August. Is it that long ago?
No.
Wow, that's good. That's
Time
good.
flies. Yeah, you weren't on board.
I really didn't think it was that long ago. But anyhow, we recently increased that to 3, and this would be the. So
All right, so is this just a consensus?
I think so.
You have a consensus.
Thank you.
All right, the next item on the agenda is waste management. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is John Blessing. I've been in contact with staff. I understand the city of St. Mary's contracts with Tri-County for disposal services, and I think that comes up in February of next year, right? That's where that goes. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of come out tonight, tell you a little bit about myself, tell you a little bit about waste management, and then hopefully seek that opportunity to offer some competition or compete for a partnership with the city when that time comes. So again, my name is John Blessing. I've been with Waste Management for about 16 years. Spent all of my life, other than maybe about 4 years, in and about Kansas. I do represent Waste Management, which is a national company, which has its advantages when it comes to resources and experience. But we're also a very localized company. Our 2 hauling sites that are around St. Mary's are out of Topeka and Junction City. And all of that leadership is local. We service a lot of towns in and around here, from Oldsburg to Westmoreland to Paxico, McFarland, Topeka, Manhattan, Fort Riley, all around. So we're in the neighborhood, so to speak. Wanted to tell you just a couple of things about Waste Management. One, they value people. That's a big factor in our company. Safety first, and I mention safety a lot because people say, "Oh yeah, safety is great," but it's really great when somebody's driving a 15-ton trash truck through your neighborhoods, right? I mean, that's a big deal. So our safety record is very important to us, and also the people we put behind the wheel. It's not easy to become a driver with Waste Management, but they're compensated well, good benefit package. We see a lot of value in attracting and then retaining that good help. Second would be technology. I mean, everything nowadays is an app on your phone. We have our own. There's all kinds of good stuff in the truck, from GPS, so no one ever gets lost. We've got cameras on our vehicles that take a picture every time we service someone's house trash. So inevitably, somebody's going to call up one time and say, "Hey, my trash didn't get picked up." We'll either have a picture of us doing it or we won't, right? It kind of ends those kinds of he said, she said discussions. In addition to some of that technology we're pretty proud of is we manage a lot of landfills throughout the state, including one in Topeka. And we now are putting gas plants on our landfills because landfills generate natural gas, right, when the stuff decomposes. So it's a nice, green, sustainable story to tell, but really why I'm so proud of it is because we've also changed our entire fleet. Our fleet runs on compressed natural gas. So the trash we throw in the landfill makes gas and we run our trucks off of it. Again, that's a great story to tell everybody, but it really comes into play in times like right now when diesel prices go through the roof. We're not immune to that, but it's nice to have a partner that can control their own costs because our fleet doesn't run primarily on diesel. So just a couple of the differentiators I wanted to point out about waste management. About myself, I'm the municipal contracts manager in this area. I'm the point of contact for all of those cities I mentioned before. I manage all of those agreements with those cities, so I'm the one-stop kind of shop for our partners. Again, just really wanted to introduce myself. There's nothing that I'm selling you or you had to vote on or anything like that, but just hope that when the year comes to an end or whenever you see fit and that contract comes up for expiration with your current provider, that we would be able to have an opportunity to at least offer some competition. So really at that, I'll stop. And if there's any questions you might have or anything I can answer for you, or tell you about.
This might be a silly question, but when you describe your truck, is that like one of the big garbage trucks that I would think about when it's in Topeka, like a super wide? I don't know, how wide would you describe that truck is?
That's a great question. I would assume it is probably the larger truck that you're talking about, but and I'm not in operations, so I do know our just at Junction City hauling site has a lot of the single axle with some of the rear loads. So we've got a combination between Topeka and Junction City. So we're going to reach and say that is it like infrastructure concern or road concern and stuff
So
like
the
that.
streets get a little congested,
Sure.
parking on both sides.
Sure.
So I was just wondering, like, would your trucks even fit? Type of
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you can imagine. No, there's no,
But if you have a
most cities
variety of
unique.
trucks,
Yes,
yeah.
and we've seen these situations in other cities where we've had to put in the smaller truck for that route or something of that nature. But good question. Anything?
Any other questions? Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to come by and say hi.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, draft request for qualifications for the park project.
You want to pause and let the police officers talk about the common consumption area?
Sure.
We also have other folks that are wanting to talk about.
So we'll switch those, come back to the, as long as I remember, draft request for qualification. So we'll go to agenda item F, common consumption area. And last meeting, we were talking about expanding the common consumption area to include the park, at which time I thought maybe we should ask if the people who manage that were interested in doing that. And as it turns out, they're not interested in doing any of it anymore.
They're asking if the city would take over the common consumption area.
Yeah.
Now, I did put together a little memo about common consumption areas, but the police are here. They had a meeting with the ABC guy today. I just might as well come on up and
If you don't mind,
get your information out.
Helpful to see what you think about
So I ended up, I'm Lisa, Captain Police. Had a meeting with Dan Coslow, who is our ABC area gentleman who handles all of our alcohol, stuff like that. He had reached out to me and explained that with the common consumption area, the problem was when it ended at the city park and people walked over with alcohol, it was leaving the common consumption area, which caused an issue because it was not within the boundaries. With that being said, if the city would choose to take that over, I don't know as a department how we would have the staff to be able to control that area. Because if anybody took alcohol outside of that common consumption area, then the city would be liable for those people exiting.
It becomes our responsibility as a permit holder.
Yeah. So up to this point, because we do have a common consumption area.
Correct.
At this point, if someone leaves the area,
The city is not the license or not the common consumption holder of that.
Okay.
That belongs to, I'm not sure.
Call Valley.
We call that like
and so what, for example, what is the risk that they're accepting in holding that permit?
potentially being fined for violations.
If someone breaks the rules relative to alcohol consumption, then the permit holder can.
The permit holder
Yes,
can be fined.
And what happens is, say there's an incident that isn't being well managed, you're talking multiplying multiple violations if people are just walking around and things like that. And kind of like what the captain said, in discussions with Mr. Costo, the ABC agent, is this requires an active, like if the city were to become permanent, it would require an active effort for us to basically maintain and to watch that area, and that's just not something that we would
So
have to
you
do.
had to be on road bands there and
All
all
the way
around the
around.
park.
Yeah.
Who's assessing those fines?
It's ABC. Mhm. And that's what, like, I've learned a whole lot over the past couple days. And I didn't know with the common consumption area, the rules that kind of were behind that also. But when you have a common consumption area, it's zoned, and it's only zoned to where that permit allows. If people walk off of that, I mean, we have to walk everywhere here, but if they walk off of that and ABC sees it, they can find the permit holder. If there's things that don't align with whatever their contract on that says, the permit holder can be fined.
The one issue that we have is, from blank down here is that, we set ours up so that folks can leave the or could bring in outside alcohol. Is that even allowed?
So no, that's actually a state violation. It violates state law, and that's going to be ordinance number 3-410, which is they can bring their own alcohol in. According to ABC, you cannot bring your own alcohol in. It has to be served on that premises. So that's one thing he kind of harped on me today on the phone, was that violates the state law, so therefore we need to get rid of that.
I guess the question that's coming to my mind is two questions. Why is the fine assessed to the permit holder rather than the person breaking the rule? Or is it assessed to both? And that's, okay, you can answer that one.
So the reason that is because the permit holder takes the entire responsibility. So it's just like if you had a party at your house, you're going to take responsibility for the people that are at your house, right? Within reason.
Like who's being served, who's allowed to drink.
Yeah.
And that's the same for a
Same
permit
thing.
holder.
And my second question is, why would anyone ever have one of these? I mean, the way I understood it, it just seemed like we're being kind of reasonable, right? But I noticed, I think in Manhattan, for example, they have, is the city the permit holder there?
So the only, my answer, I asked that about Aggieville specifically, and I was told no, they are not. The only other two cities that he had given me was the city of Riley and the city of Marysville. Now the city then holds their permit for that. He was like, you're more than welcome to look into those. You're more than welcome to look into those. So then I ended up asking the question, I said, well, what about the city commission and them allowing alcohol in the park? And they're like, oh yeah, they're allowed to do that on certain days. And I said, then why are we fighting with this? Like, where does this become an issue? And he said, because the boundary line.
Right, that was the only reason.
Yes.
Because if you're allowed to do it there and you're allowed to do it right next to it, then it seems silly that there was this magical line.
Yeah.
But
because of the permit, that makes that line magical.
Yeah. Interesting. So, in Aggieville, who owns it? Who would own it?
It's the establishments.
The individual establishments, they run it
In front of their restaurant. Anyway, those are the questions I had. Any other questions or comments?
I recall the intention with the Chamber of Commerce having it, they thought it would be something that would increase activities downtown, people to utilize walking with a drink down sidewalks. Hasn't really seemed to turn out to be used. So
I think the first year a little bit, but really I think it's died down. I think the St. Patrick's Day they had.
They only have like 20, 25 people down there maybe.
Yeah. So I'm not sure they want to abandon it. I think they're wanting to know if the city will take it over. And if the city says no, then they'll reassess it. So.
Well, from where I'm sitting, I think the city should say no. I don't see the benefit outweighing the risk.
And if they're not willing to assume, say they want to keep the downtown but not the park.
Well, then we still have our rules in the park, right?
So how it was explained to me, because there's that imaginary line, and where I feel that we're going to come into a problem is going to be our 4th of July event on the 27th. If they have their if they're still doing their common consumption, people can't walk from that line and step over it with a drink going into the park, or that's a violation. You know, or saying that they can't bring their own their outside beer into it. So they're coming from the park where they just got alcohol
Where they can't.
and they cross the street
Yeah,
and
can't-
cross the imaginary line.
Right, yeah, and it's the only, I agree that that's a challenge. I guess the only good part of that challenge is it's one line rather than if we were trying to police the whole common consumption area all the time.
Do the vendors at the 4th of July sell liquor?
I think there is liquor that's sold.
Alright, well then, so they're gonna have a hard time proving where it came from. Potentially.
I'm not sure that's the right approach.
I'm just saying that they're nitpicking over
They are.
crossing the line, whatever. I think we first need to answer the question from the chamber: are you wanting to take over the common consumption area downtown? And then they can do what they want to do.
And in theory, they could take over, or would that be weird if they took over the common consumption area for the park too? Is that possible?
Well, that's what that
But
ordinance
that
we
is-
had would do.
Okay, so that's what we were initially talking about.
That's how this started, and then you said,
So
"Why don't?"
that's allowed. It's just that they might not want to.
Well, when approached, they all want the city wanted to go to downtown. Okay, so you just consensus to do it. Send it back to the chamber.
Yeah, I think our consensus is we do not want to take over the common consumption area downtown. And obviously, we have to change the wording of, if it's gonna continue, we have to change the wording that's in violation of the state.
And if the chamber says no, do you want us to look into the city being the permit holder for the Riverside Park common consumption area, which would probably be easier to manage because there'd be no licensees to worry about, and that I think we could just see what's possible down there. Because the issue is you can set the hours, and you could say that it's only during city-approved events. I wanted to know if you want us to follow through to see if that would be easier to run.
Is that the old? Wasn't that the old model that was used? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. Just to see if it's allowed under the current rules.
Well, what do we call the park now? Because we do allow.
Riverside
people-
Park, common consumption area.
Do we call it that? Is it actually?
I believe it is set up as that, yes.
That's why people are allowed to have alcohol in the park, because it is common consumption.
Generally, for an event, isn't it? There's resolution passed. I'm trying to remember because
I think I'm beginning to understand why they come to us for every single individual event, so that we don't have this Pandora's box.
I will tell you that dealing with liquor laws in the state for the last 20 years, it's always this way.
yeah, it's very.
It's never clear. You never know if you're complying.
We do have we can if you have a question that you feel you need answered to really we do have phone a friend that ABC agent is willing to answer.
Well, it sounds like this person knows the answer to the question. That ABC person. So I would say let's start and see if they want to maintain the
First,
downtown.
if the town chamber of the city's not interested in the downtown running it,
Yes.
Could we summon the chamber? I don't know, like someone to talk to us about what the reservations are, and maybe
absolutely.
we have the exact same reservations, right?
We'll let 'em- It's just
I know there is a thing.
Yeah. That's
they're a small part-time organization. They don't have full-time staff, and it sounds like this might be a full-time situation of working with the licensees and complying and doing that. So it's just a lot of work, I think, especially for a small group.
Yeah.
So we'll tell the chamber not interested, but if you come talk to us, yeah. All right. Thank you.
And feel free to get with Chief for the ABC's number, so
Alright.
he's willing to talk to any of you guys.
Thank you for
So-
informing us.
Dan
If if the group that was here went through the fundraiser, I think you need to follow the path of getting an individual license from the state of Kansas. You know the contact.
All right.
ABC maybe.
Let's go back to the draft request for qualifications for the park.
So at the last meeting, you reviewed a draft and said it's fine. I just wanted to point out a concern was the one about asking for the rough cost estimate. Over the years, when we've dealt with engineers and the like, a lot of them won't respond to something if you ask them to put a bid in or something like that. They believe the proper way to do it is to get their qualifications, review all those qualifications, find the one that best fits with you, and individually negotiate an arrangement with that firm. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I just want to know to let you know that if we don't get a lot of responses, that could be the reason why. And then I think you need to have a deadline, and at the very bottom, one thing that letter doesn't cover is giving the people who would be sending us their credentials what kind of time frame we're working on. So that's all I have on that. And then there's 2 pages of potential firms to consider. So just need some direction on that.
A question on that. Does the RFQ find if we can't ask them for an estimate? Can we request a schedule of the fees?
The rate fee,
of
yeah.
their engineers? Because I mean, I come from that world too,
And that's what Pat Cox had told us years ago. Maurice, I'll give you my rate sheet, but we don't put in bids for projects and that sort of stuff. So
yeah,
we could
I mean, it won't be perfect, but it'll give us an idea. And even
and maybe, well, I don't know if you want to do that in the initial letter because that's a smack of a bid. But if you narrow it down to 2 or 3, and you want to invite in here, they can bring their rate sheet. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. It's just, does that make sense? I mean, I hear Francis and the other folks. What do you think?
Either or on that, whatever rate sheet's fine. If you think it'll help to get rid of rough cost estimate, that's fine with me. As far as the deadline, when do we want to proceed by? I don't know, is 3 weeks enough?
Oh yeah, they have the stuff already set aside. I'm sure they've got it.
So if we had it in 3 weeks, maybe by the 15th of May, we would have it by our second meeting in May, which is on the 19th. So that would be great.
So I don't want to be the one. I'm okay if you put the rate thing there. Obviously, I just want you to be aware of it. I'd like you to make your own decision on that. You're from the world, but not everybody. When I first encountered it, I was a little bit shocked. I didn't realize that. So please.
Well, it seems to be step 1 is you just a request for qualifications. Strikes me as just that. Are you qualified to do this? And then we can start looking at money after.
How many engineers is this going to? How many firms?
Well, so I got 3, got 6, about 12 that I found. That
As long as there's competition amongst the specs.
Once you get down to like 3.
And I also am open to, of course, sending it to other folks, but these are the ones that were at the top of the list type of thing. So May 15th would be the deadline, is what you're saying, Francis, for the letter?
Sounds good to me if people can turn it that quickly.
Do we want to put something in there? Okay, that would then, how long do you think it will take you to make a decision? When would they expect to hear one way or the other?
When you say you expect to hear,
Well, so when you get the credentials, you're going to review them. Are you going to take a month to review them and then pick the 3 and then send out letters to the folks that aren't being considered and the ones that are? That's what I'm just trying to end the process.
right?
So,
Because in my mind, when you say you pick, yes, we would pick 3 and then we would interview them again, maybe with more detailed questions, actually get the rate sheet and try to get an idea of cost. So maybe the process is a little bit elongated if the end goal is picking the final engineer. But breaking it down to 3, I would imagine we need more than 1 meeting.
so first meeting,
So if we have everything, all the documents by the 19th, you should be able to break it down on the 2nd and then make a decision by the 2nd meeting in June. I think it's not a big project. We mainly want people. We wanted one of these businesses to help us make sure things are laid out properly, aesthetically going to turn out well, going to achieve all of our goals. It's not a big engineering project, so it shouldn't take terribly long.
all right. So when we solicit these, the deadline to submit it is the 15th. We'll review it on the 19th, and then by the 2nd meeting in June, I just want to be clear. So
So we're telling them, we would tell them to come present at the meeting that we're reviewing.
no, not necessarily. I think you're going to get the credentials. You're going to say, well, doesn't meet our, doesn't show the experience. It'll separate themselves, I'm sure. And then the ones that aren't going to be considered, I would like to give them notice that, hey, we appreciate your interest, but you're not under consideration. And then the final 3, send a different letter to, and maybe invite them to talk to you personally.
That's the first meeting in June or the second meeting.
For that one, I think because I don't know, I think maybe it's not a huge project. I think you have all the documents on the 19th, and we take some time to sift through them. We should be able to narrow it down, and then we can get the letter out, ask them if they have time on the 2nd. If they do, great. Not, it's fine. So that would be my recommendation.
They also may ask the dollar value of the project, so.
To be determined. It really is, and because a lot, I'm not sure about this, but engineering firms in general seem to have a magic 10% price tag. So,
but the thing that we have to do in parallel is define more clearly what we want in these parts, so they can. And so I just want to make sure it's not exactly the agenda item, but if you had anything further on that spreadsheet that we have a lot of inputs already. If you wanted to add any more, then I'll try to get those all squished together, either with the assistance of what or on my.
well, I'll tell you, I think you should do it on your own, but I'll provide you a version for reference.
All right, and I'll check Grok.
So am I not expecting any more information on spreadsheets?
So
I've got 3.
So I went out to walk the flats area specifically because I can't remember who said what, but I think there was an interest in having the flats be one of the first areas we look at working on, and just being out there for a while, kind of measuring out some spaces. I did add a few things too. I copied a spreadsheet into a Google sheet, added a few things so I can reply to Maurice. So
When I use your spreadsheet, I will provide it to everyone, and then I will do what I do. You do what you do. We'll see. So I'm going to remove. Excuse me.
seem to be enjoying the AI use, but could you ask your friend to make a visual creation of all of these ideas in that space?
I can. I'll tell you this though. I will tell you this. The AI has been great as far as helping to organize stuff, but it can really be garbage in, garbage out,
I'm kidding.
and that sort of stuff. But I have found that we have 4,400 pages worth of minutes. I have that one of the AIs can just go through and pull out every reference to zoning, every reference to whatever. The other ones won't, and 3 of the 4 are quite woke. One of them's not. It's just crazy. So I don't forget. I can try to do something like that. I'm gonna remove the rough cost estimate line. I think that would help. The deadline is May 15th for the submissions, and you believe the second meeting in June, or the second of June?
Well, what if we were wanting to have the presentations on the first meeting in June, which is the second?
So first. So
that means we just need to narrow it down.
okay, that makes sense.
Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda is the 2025. The next audit engagement letter, which we haven't. I assume this is the same boilerplate.
Yep.
And we already agreed to use that, I believe, last meeting anyway.
Well, you asked him to send a letter. This would be the agreement part, that accepted as presented. It gives the fee in there. Is it 10.5? Something like that. So it's standard.
Okay. Do we just by consensus?
Yeah, we don't need a motion. Well, since there's all I'm attached to it, I'd ask for a motion.
Let me just make sure I get the date right. Yeah, I would entertain a motion for the audit engagement letter for this year from Shipley CPA LLC.
Mr. Ring, I move to approve the audit engagement letter for this year from Shipley LLC.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor vote aye. Aye. And there are none opposed. Thank you. All right, this is simple. Ordinance 1358, we had a date error.
I had wrong month
Yeah.
on that ordinance. Same attorney said just change the date and republish it. But that's why we hadn't published it anyway. We was waiting to talk to him if this is something that had to go through our website or through the newspaper. And he said just change the date and republish. But I wanted the commission, I wanted everyone to be okay. He's going to sign it. It was for last month, not this month, 17th. So if there's no problem, we'll publish it as corrected. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, Kansas Power Pool, and then Western.
So previously there's been a request to have a power pool meeting or have them come talk to you about that. And I said I hadn't contacted them because I hadn't had a full board. Well, this popped up in the meantime. So the Western Area Power Administration, the city buys them the power from. Last year we signed some documents. I'm not even going to try to explain it. That's why we're bringing the power pool here. So this is independent of the power pool. This small power source, but they're acting on our behalf. It can't be what they consider a pooled resource because they don't have a footprint in the area. Bottom line is this: they're going to be here on May 19th. Do you want to have a 6:30 work session independent of it? That was kind of requested, or do you just want to take care of everything with the power pool at the meeting, the regular meeting? That's really the only thing because they're going to be here on the 19th to discuss those WAPA documents.
So let's consider that in tandem with reviewing, and not to go back, but reviewing the responses that we do get from the engineers. We will have made a decision on the 19th. We'll be ready with a decision on the 19th on which 3 to ask back. Like, so it's not that we're doing both of those things on that same meeting, or what were you contemplating?
Yeah, thanks. So that would be my hope is that so I have no idea how many companies are going to submit their qualifications looking for a fairly small project. But in the past, we can kind of tell that who is serious and who's not just by how they present their qualification. Some of them just do it as a matter of routine, but other people actually really want the project they're doing. So I think it will be easy to narrow down to a few on the 19th, hopefully.
That's helpful. I just was wondering, this is a big time commitment plus whatever we're asking for them here.
Yeah, well, I think remember Gerard really wants to talk to the Kansas Power Pool guy. So and I brought that up because I actually did appreciate the presentation from that fellow last time. It was informative, but I don't know that we need. It's up to you. If there's something to be discussed with this WAPA.
No, the WAPA thing you'll do during the regular meeting. There's no reason to have a work session on it unless someone wants to. I was just requested to have them come present, and I always want to make it available as a work session because a lot of times people speak freely in a work session.
Yeah.
But I'm indifferent to it's whatever you folks want, and I'll let them know.
What would you like to do?
I don't think we're any less scary or more friendly in a work session as opposed to a regular commission meeting. So
Let's go.
So what we're really asking to do, we want to start the meeting early. No. No, we will not.
Regular meeting, WAPA documents, any power pool questions can be done during the regular meeting.
All right. We need generators. Okay, next item on the agenda is 10-year plan, capital improvement plan, comprehensive plan.
Well, they're all, so the comprehensive plan was the city commissioners going to do their homework. I gave them a official copy that is the copy to read. Plan commission, I haven't done anything, we're waiting for.
We can just defer that.
Yeah, you just roll it. I'll have a spreadsheet update at some point, but not tonight.
Anyways, so okay. Jumping ahead, I think we have. I was going to bring the BUG work session, but that's later in the agenda. Sorry.
Yeah. Last time.
The only thing on that one is I think the Eagle people had suggested that they would send someone down here at some point. We've heard that back from them.
I'm gonna have to look at my email. When I was on vacation, I may have gotten an email from Nico Devo thing. I'm not sure I responded. So,
All right, good. Next item on the agenda, electrical project bid disbursement. So the scenario there is we still only have one bid. And I asked a question, I don't know that we can answer it tonight. And maybe someone sort of knows it. I'm wondering where the power comes from to that spot, and if it's at all possible to supply the Armory side power from the south and that space from the north, such that we could remove the line that's going, not even use it as a source of power, the one that's way across the street, and save a lot of money just by putting stuff on the north side of the ground. And that, I have no idea, but I know that, I know that on the submarine you can reroute power pretty easily by breaking over here, something over there. So I don't even know if that capability exists, but that would save money, I think. So I would like to do something over there. I would like to do it as as efficiently as we can. I don't think it's a good setup at all the way it is now for that proposed project.
So the city has 4 circuits. I'm not going to get an answer to your question, but the city has 4 circuits, and there's 2 in the north and 2 in the south. And the one that goes like right behind City Hall and in that area is the industrial park one. I don't know.
So that's all I'm wondering. If it's possible to put them on 2 different circuits, then we might be able to avoid having to run. That's the expensive part, I would imagine.
Well, so but here's something that we missing there is that we're not going to be able to do that without an engineering study and report, and that's going to eat up some cash. But it's not necessarily not worth looking into.
I'm interested in that question, but overall, what I'm saying is I think this is worth investing in. Both as an electrical, but also as a downtown beautification. So then my question is, what's the best way? First of all, is this the best price? And then what would be the best way to pay for it? I suspect it's a combination of electrical and countywide, something like that. But I think we can defer that question.
If you decide to move forward with the project, you can decide on where to bill it to when the invoice comes in.
Yeah.
If you want to wait.
Well, we were talking earlier, we've had these sorts of bigger projects that have come up, like the
Substation,
and we have been able to pay for those.
bridge.
Out of the electrical, so it's not cheap, but it's not out of line with things that we have been covering for the past several years. And I do think there's a lot of that, and that's my opinion. I don't know if we have other comments. I guess the other question is, would we be comfortable saying, yeah, we like that without having a second bid? You have to try to get a second bid. I don't particularly like doing that, but we can't get one.
We're going to get a whole bunch of engineers' attention for the park project. Would it really be that hard to ask them, oh, by the way, can you help us come up with a bill that are really different?
Way different. But some of them will be the same firms. We used to use an engineer out of Wichita, the Navy. He's that one that has a report, but he's just outgrown us. He's just too busy, too big, works in 6 states. There are other engineering firms that around here that have electrical engineers. In fact, I keep thinking Kaiser, but it's the one that does their substation work. He's electrical. Electricon, thank you. Electricon, they're electrical engineers too. So, I mean, I can see if Don would want to see if there's an alternative way of switching circuits for that right there. I don't know what it feeds, but that's what you want. And Electricon would probably be the one to check with.
So do we have any other comments tonight? What are we looking to accomplish precisely tonight? I mean, what's the time frame or the
I'm not on time.
property owners?
Yesterday.
Okay.
Not as official picture, it's imagination, but I think in order to cut those lines, not have it cross Highway or above or underground, we'd have to feed it from somewhere else. Looking at how the power lines are going in that area, it would seem that we would have to run so that power powers the north side of Highway 24 and 600 block, and also goes down to probably 4th Street and maybe farther. So it's kind of the north side of Highway 24. And we would probably have to go all the way to 7th Street, which is on the other side of Railroad Park. Probably have to connect those power lines crossing Highway 24, and then run a line through Railroad Park across 63, which is already a line, and then feed it from the north side. I think it's possible.
It might be more expensive. It's just something that occurs.
I don't know the cost breakdown specifically of the project, but just going underground a certain way has a cost. But I think there's a lot of hands-on work with cleaning up the current situation north of Highway 24, of transformers and poles, and meters, everything that would go along with that. So I don't know what the majority cost is on the project, whether there's that underground portion. But so with regards to the whole project, 123,000, is that a good bid? I think it's definitely within a reasonable range. And we've been after a second bid for several months, have not been able to receive one.
Christmas time almost.
Yeah, and I'm willing to wait another meeting, but if we don't have one by the next meeting, I would propose moving forward with this bid, or at least see what the commission wants to move forward with this. So yeah, I think it's a good project. Cleans up that area downtown, gets rid of a lot of demographic infrastructure, but also it does. I think the property owner is going to move forward with their project, and that would be a good thing. And they can't move forward without the city cleaning up the infrastructure. So, and I think as far as the electric department, I think we have our full electric grid or full electric system in St. Mary's kind of taken care of for the most part. Our substation's good. All of our lines are pretty good. There's just a couple little things down in the industrial park that need some attention. But other than that, we don't have any major projects coming up, so I don't think there's a risk to the fund. But, so to sum it up, happy to be, not really happy, but happy to wait a couple more weeks if needed. But at the next meeting, I'd like to have action, or at least either do it or kill the project.
And I don't know if there's any way to get any additional pressure on trying to get more bids. So
It's just almost because they're kind of some of them are tied together. They work for subcontractor. I mean, he's saying we went through some of this. I mean, there probably is somebody out there. I don't know who it would be necessarily, but.
So my two goals would be to try to get at least one more bid and to get some kind of an answer on the circuit idea.
Well, now, I think for our purposes, we'll ask Don.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to bring the engineer here.
No, I don't want. I just want. Is it even something that's worth getting an official answer on? That's all.
if it's even possible,
Yeah.
and if it's complicated,
I think they probably know right off the top of his head if it's a crazy question.
we can follow.
She would be certainly willing to tell me if that's a crazy.
We can follow with that. Yeah.
All right, so that would be our goal there. Then we can see what happens. Maybe we should get down to 19. All right. Speaking of work sessions, the next item on the agenda is BG Consultants work session. And that's just a question of picking a date, correct?
They said, I have the email in here, it said Maurice for April 29th to 30th work. And they're holding them open for us.
29th is a Wednesday, 30th is a Thursday.
Yeah.
This is April, right?
April, it says here, it's right here in the
Yeah, I just
that's why I included the
yes, that's what I
email.
thought. That's why
There's a quick
the
response.
30th would not work for me. 29th.
Okay, 6 o'clock, 29th. And just, okay, so by then, obviously, because it's Thursday, we'll have the pre-construction meeting, and then you can get that information. Then we'll we need to follow up on that sewer plant. I don't believe they delivered the bid-ready plans for that HVAC unit or that whatever Pacific was working on up there. And then what are you thinking about on the water? Because you want to update it again? Because the water study hasn't really changed other than that we did that little project.
Well, I don't think that Raphael and Gerard have ever
Just
had a
go over
briefing
the
on
plan
that.
and the update.
They sort of get the initial idea,
Okay.
and then we could discuss the other idea of how we might be able to.
That's
break it
fine.
into different chunks.
He will already be prepared for that to do the setting. So you're going to choose April 29th,
Wednesday.
6 o'clock. Thank you.
And the last item of the agenda is
HVAC?
HVAC. It's the same bid as last time.
Well, hang on. So last time I said something, so it's been an unclear situation, but we have 4 units up there. The one that we're talking about is the one that does the admin, because this here's a different unit because it's working, right? When they did the roofing project, the subcontractor, they hired someone locally to remove the air conditioning units and put them back. 3 of the 4 fine. This one, fourth one, the Call Valley, people who put it up originally said that when it was done, that a valve wasn't opened back up, and then when we tried to use it, it caused some damage. Now, keep in mind, the valve isn't just turning it, it's kind of a ratcheting thing. It wasn't just something that could be accidentally or not. So the point is, it's under warranty, but they believe that the warranty is void. So instead of getting it repaired for nothing, they gave us 2 quotes. One from 5 or 6, just the compressor. One for 10 or 11 for the full unit. They believe the compressor alone would solve the problem. Then the person we had come and put the Freon back in after the roof's up, he put a quote in, and I put a quote out. It's like $6,000 or something for the new unit. Don says it's comparable to what's up there now. I can't explain the price. The gentleman's Mr. Kaiser, he's worked around there, and everyone I've talked to, he said does great work. So, yeah. Well, the Kaiser one wasn't in the pack. I just got that this morning, but it's $6,000.
That's a new unit for $6,000.
Yes. Whereas the other one is to replace the existing for 5 or 6, almost for the compressor plus more for one. But you wouldn't. So it's approximately equal. I think we choose the compressor if you go with Call Valley, and you'd obviously have to choose the new one if you go with Kaiser.
If we could verify that it's the same capacity, that would be my only concern is that it's not.
Yeah, I gave Kelsey the email from Kaiser.
I guess the question that immediately comes to my mind is if someone did some work and messed up such that it ruined our air conditioner.
We're not going to know that.
We can't.
I mean, the person they say would have done it did the other 3 fine, and then this one isn't fine. I just don't. There's no way to find out.
Like rock.
Well, I did run it by Brock. No. And Grok's the least woke of them all. In case you don't know.
For now, it's just luring you in.
Yeah.
in my opinion, if we can get a new one for essentially the same price and it's comparable, I don't know why we wouldn't do that. But
Yeah, you could. Yeah, that's what I think would be fine. It's, there's no way to prove anything.
I know Steve Kaiser is a highly reliable and honest individual. Shocking.
Yeah, the Kaiser's a quote for a 5-ton 3-phase 410 amp unit for $6,200. If that's what you want, that's what I would say. There's
Well, it sounds great.
have a consensus to accept the quote from Mr. Kaiser as presented. They have that one.
Where does it stay? I'm trying to figure out.
Does anybody check out the homepage?
Specs are.
I added a chat bot to our homepage.
Yes, I saw that. Well, I'm looking at the description of this replacement that Cobb Valley has listed. I don't see anything about 5 tons. I don't know how to compare.
Oh, okay.
Unless I'm not seeing it. I mean, I am not seeing it. I don't know if it's on here. It would be nice. I just want to make sure that we replace it with something that's going to work for the space. But what, we just defer that so that this is not.
If you don't want to make a decision until.
I'd rather have all the data before I would. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Are you guys suffering in there?
Toasty. I can't complain because mine's working.
So the thing, so this here room's on a unit of itself. Her office and the break room, and then whatever else is on it. Admin, this is on one, and then there's one that gets the police in the break room of the whatever. So we've had the door open with fan blowing air out, whatever. So I'm fine with whatever you decide.
Can I make a suggestion, Mr. Raymond? So just if it's gonna, there's a lot of details. I think would it be all right just to set a limit? If it exceeds a certain limit, maybe we'll bring it back to the next city commission meeting. But if it stays below a certain limit, it's whatever you all work out.
We make the decision on who to go with. Is that what you're asking?
Yep.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Yeah. Well, we could do that. I mean, I certainly agree with. We would agree we can approve the thing as long as we meet whatever criteria. For me, it's not a dollar limit. It's a making sure that the $6,000 new one is comparable to the
Existing unit.
80, that's the current
I
one.
would say the existing unit, and they do have to work together because it's a heater,
Yeah.
it's HVAC, so it's
So that's the way I would put it.
But this one is the one that Mr. Kaiser presented is compatible with
Okay.
the current.
So then, if you will agree that as long as the new unit offered by Kaiser is compatible with the existing unit, we'll go with the new unit rather than the compressor.
Okay.
We need just a consensus on that.
The Abbey consensus, we will pay for it later. Okay.
All right. Do you have any reports?
So the financials are out for March. Keep in mind that they still don't reflect the audit adjustments. So that'll be the next meeting, or the next financials, whatever. I think that's all I had.
Kelsey.
What? Well, that's you. That's all I had.
Kelsey?
We ordered the brackets and planters for
Oh, I
next
saw
week.
that.
We were only able to order a certain amount because the website doesn't have everything in stock right now. So we were able to get, I think, 8 brackets and 22 hangers, planters. So
The price keeps going down?
yeah.
All right.
And I did send that out, did I not?
Yeah.
The typical waste management residential trash truck is usually about 8 to 8.5 feet. With mirrors, it's 10 to 11. For clearance planning, use at least 12 feet, 14 feet, according to ChatGPT.
We have to end on that note.
But check out the homepage.
And I do
It's
need all of you to sign this before you leave.
the plat down there. So that's from a previous one. That wasn't what was approved tonight. That one will come later, but please sign this with her observation.
That having been said, I would accept one final motion. I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? And a second. All those in favor vote aye.